those two words being in the same sentence, they think that, religion and science are completely separate from each other. Why do you think a lot of people may be surprised to hear that the two can actually meet?
Well, I think there's been a popular cultural trope since the late 19th century that science and religion are at war, or science and religion are in conflict. And this was the direct consequence of some late 19th century historical revisionism that was accomplished by some very prominent authors, and that was advanced by some very prominent authors. When I write about the books in question in my book, Return to the God Hypothesis, but they're telling us the story they told about the history of science and its relationship to religious belief was false. And most prominent historians of science today know that. If you go back to the period known as the Scientific Revolution, roughly 1500 to 1750, maybe stretching back even a couple centuries before, where the foundations of science were laid in the late medieval universities, what you see is that science and religion not only coexisted in a happy sort of symbiosis, but rather that science arose in a Judeo-Christian milieu for specifically Judeo-Christian and even biblical reasons. There's a fantastic book called For the Glory of God, published with Princeton University Press by the late historian of science, Rodney Stark, in which he explains that the motivation for studying the natural world during the period of the scientific religion, the scientific revolution, was religious. That people like Newton, in writing the Principia or the Principia, depending on your preferred Latin pronunciation, that Newton was wanting to show the mathematical principles that underlie the creation of the universe, and in so doing, give glory to God, the ultimate geometer, the mathematician behind it all. And there was this powerful idea in that period known as intelligibility, that nature was intelligible. It had secrets that could be discerned because our minds were made in the image of the rational creator who endowed the natural world with reason and law-like order and design. We have a rationality that can perceive the rationality that's built into the universe. So that was one of the foundational motivations and inspirations for doing science, and one of the reasons that scientists had confidence that they could successfully discern the secrets of nature, often written in mathematics, as I mentioned. So this idea of a conflict between science and religion is really of late 19th century vintage. It does result from an actual conflict, and that is the conflict between scientific materialists and the origins theories that they developed, and more traditional theists. But even in the late 19th century, you had figures like James Clerk Maxwell, who was a devoutly religious Scottish Presbyterian, as it happens. He had the Cavendish Laboratory inscribed with the verse from the Psalms, "Great are the works of the Lord, sought out by all who take pleasure therein." For him, that was the reason you did science. You were studying the works of the Lord. But in any case, the argument in my book is that the early harmony between science and religion that characterized the scientific revolution is either coming back with an increasing number of scientists, or should be. It is coming back with an increasing number of scientists. There's still a lot of people holding out, but the discoveries of late 20th century and early 21st century science, both in biology but also in physics and cosmology, have, I think, very God-friendly implications, and that's what my recent work has been about.